case you get bitten by a snake. It's very common to get bitten by a snake. Running a marathon and ultra is completely different ball game. This trail is one of the most popular in Australia. It runs for about 110 kilometers or so. It's called the Great Ocean Walk. There is venomous snakes in the area, and a lot of people have been bitten as well. There was a girl there with us in the briefing. She had been bitten 4 times.
What is the thought process at that time? What are you thinking? Should I go ahead? Should I stop? And even if I do, what are the consequences? Walk us through the entire thought process.
And that's when at 78-kilometer mark, I had to make a decision. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wiser Together with your hosts, Parmeet, Kumar, and Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this. We truly appreciate your support. Starting off with today's podcast, we took a little break. We are trying not to put so much pressure on ourselves and just do this in the most organic way possible. So, initially, we started off with posting once a week. Now we've taken it back to maybe twice or once a month. It just feels more natural and more organic, but we definitely want to keep doing this. So, uh, yeah, hopefully we can continue this trajectory and keep bringing you guys all the wisdom on a monthly basis now.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. All right. So, Parmeet Kumar, superhuman. Guys, we've already talked about this in one of our previous episodes that Parmeet was going to attempt something absolutely phenomenal, which was a 100K. And of course, this episode is going to be about that. We're going to dive deep into this and let Parmeet walk us through what goes into the entire race on race day. So, over to you, Parmeet. Tell us what happened.
yeah, so we'll obviously talk about the 100K, but on a broader, as a broader topic, we want to share why we should set goals and how they can help you become a better person and whatever domain that may be in. So I'll start off with my experience. If you've listened to the previous episodes, you would already know I was going for this humongous of a task, which is running 100 kilometers on a trail in Victoria, Australia. Started about 6 months ago. I started running last year, and then decided last 6 months ago to do a 100-kilometer ultra marathon. And I really didn't know how I was going to do it. But for 6 months, I trained here and there. The training wasn't obviously pitch perfect. There was ups and downs in training as well. But yeah, I trained for 6 months, showed up for the race, and we started nice and early, 5 a.m. on the 26th of October. Uh, The race was 100 kilometers long. There was 3,000 meters of elevation gain. There was about 250 other runners. Uh, we slept early, got up early. I didn't get much sleep, got about 5 hours. But anyway, made it to the start line at 5 a.m. and off we went. It was still dark, so we were wearing our headlights and stuff. Uh, but yeah, running for the first 50K was actually a lot of fun. Uh, I had done 50K 6, 7 times before, so I was really good up until 50K, and it was a lot of fun. Challenging still, to say the least, because the incline wasn't something I had ever experienced before. There was a lot of ups and downs. Most of the track wasn't runnable. Either there's sand, lots of rocks, or the elevation ascends or descends were very, very, very steep. But throughout, I was just enjoying, trying to enjoy as much as I can. So up until 50K, also I was carrying a backpack, had about 2 liters of water. I was wearing a headlight. I was carrying compression tape in case you get bitten by a snake. It's very common to get bitten by a snake on these trails. You're carrying a first aid kit. You're carrying a blister kit. You're carrying there's mosquito repellent, sunscreen, some snacks, uh, jellies, phone, charger. There's a bunch of stuff. So we're definitely not used to running while carrying all this stuff, but nonetheless, uh, I really try to enjoy it. That was the plan, to enjoy it as much as I can and be present throughout the moment. Uh, So from checkpoint to checkpoint to checkpoint, it was about 20 kilometers each between checkpoints up until checkpoint three, which was at 55-kilometer mark at Joanna Beach. I was good. I was really tired, but I was feeling good. I knew the next part is going to be really, really tough. I had just ran almost 3 kilometers on the beach in sand, which I just discovered on that day is really, really difficult. And the more effort you put in into the sand, the harder it becomes. So you just have to go slow and you have to float around. But in any case, uh, got to about checkpoint three in about 9 hours or something. Took a little break and then off we went from checkpoint three to checkpoint four. This part was really tough. There's about 22 kilometers between the two checkpoints. Insane level of incline, ups and downs. I wasn't running anymore, mostly just walking. I had got my running poles, so most of the time just walking up and down. You're going down to the beach, then going up the stairs. Uh, One thing I discovered was running a marathon and ultra is completely different ball game. The marathon was about 4 hours. This ultra, I did about 78 kilometers, and that took me about 14 to 15
14
hours.
hours, yeah.
Yeah, so just being on your feet for 14 to 15 hours as well, with all that weight, with all the sun going up and down, I think there could have been more
Yeah.
preparation that could have gone into this. Especially this was my first ultra kilometer run. So, uh, yeah, in any case, got about 78-kilometer mark. By that point, I was really close to getting injured. I had ran into several instances where I was about to just getting injured. My ankle was twisting a lot. I was hitting my toe in rocks and branches coming out of the floor. The ground was always uneven. You weren't running on a flat ground, so you always have to be mindful of where you're stepping. And I did, as I said, twisted my ankle a few times. Didn't really get sprained or injured, but I really just saw it coming. And that's when at 78-kilometer mark, I had to make a decision, and I decided to stop and quit, uh, which was very, very, very disappointing to say the least. Uh, but yeah, I've just over the days learned to sort of cope up with that and not to be hard on myself and be grateful for everything that I achieved, although it wasn't what I wanted, but it's only just fueled me to go after bigger things. And it's crazy what I've been thinking about in the past few weeks as well. So I'm glad that this thought stemmed from that failure, you know.
Yeah, that's just how it is. We'll definitely get to those things. But yeah, I mean, right off the bat, Ramit, whoever knows you, your friends and family, we're of course very, very proud. And yeah, we've already talked about this person as well. Definitely, you're a person who does not go into things to not complete them. You're always putting in full measure to get the full result. But I think your Instagram post is done so well, and you talk about disappointment over there as well. But like you say over here, that's the beauty about life. Life always gives you another chance. So we never know. Pretty soon, you'll be smashing the 100K, and yeah, we'll be talking about that as well. What I want to do right now is take your Instagram post. So because we want to take the viewers and the listeners through the journey. So first of all, tell us like what were you feeling going into the race when you were at the starting line. And by the way, we're going to put up all the videos and pictures Parmeet has given us as we're talking about this, so that you can also for the people who are watching over YouTube, they can look at exactly what the terrain was, and yeah, it's guys, it's very very different because I've also ran a marathon. It's just a flat road, right? This is not a flat road.
Yeah,
If it were a flat road, 100K, this guy would have easily done it in
I
very
think
easy
so.
time. But yeah, like he was saying, that there's beach, there's climbing up and down, and it's not even about elevation. Even sometimes when you're coming down, you
Down as
have to
well.
be
Yeah,
very very careful
yeah.
so that you don't slip. So tell us, what were you feeling? What was your excitement level or anxiety or whatever it is you were feeling along with other runners at the starting line?
So going into the race, we this place was about 2 hours away from Melbourne, so we arrived there 2 days before just to settle in and stuff. Get do the race briefing, meet the race directors, collect the bibs and everything, and just get prepared the day before. So uh, the day before, you never really sleep properly. At least I haven't. I've done several marathons now, and I never really sleep properly the day before. Uh, but
Why do
anyway,
you
I
think
think
that is? But why do you think that is?
I
Is it
don't know.
like
There's just so much thoughts, and you're not fully relaxed. You back of the mind, subconsciously, you know you've got this huge task in front of you. Maybe it's a bit of nervousness, anxiety. I don't know what it is. I'm yet to
it's a
experience it enough
cocktail of
times.
things?
Yeah, it's a cocktail of things for sure. But this all happens the day before and the night before. The day off, it's just you strict schedule. Woke up 3:30 in the morning. I slept at 10. I went to bed at 9, but I think I slept around 11:30, 12. But anyway, woke up 3:30. These races, another thing is that it's extremely early. 5 a.m. start,
Mm.
right? Meaning you have to wake up 3:30. Uh, you have to eat as well, then allow some time. So my routine is very simple. I wake up. I
So,
used to do
so just to put it into perspective, you ran 15 hours almost, right? So you started at 5 a.m., finished at almost what,
7:30,
7 to 8 p.m.?
7:30 ish. Yeah.
God damn. You saw the sunset and the sunrise and the sunset again.
Yeah. No, when we were starting, it was still dark, and then an hour later we saw the sunrise, and then running the whole day, and then saw the sunset as well, and then I finished. But in any case, the day off, you don't really have much to think about. You just such in a hurry. You have to
Yeah.
stretch. You have to meditate and visualize. You have to eat your food. You have to shower. You have to get ready and stuff. Get to the location. So all of this takes about an hour, 2 hours, right? Uh, but in any case, did all of that. I wish I woke up a little bit earlier. I didn't really stretch properly because I was getting late. As soon as I got there, I was going to stretch there. But as soon as I got there, they were about to start in about 2 minutes. So I did a quick 2 minute stretch. That was the only stretching I did before, which was not ideal. But anyway, did a quick stretch and we started. Off we went. When we started, I was sort of ahead, but I wanted to really conserve my energy, so I was going really really slow. So in the first kilometer, all 250 runners, 245 of them over, 249 overtook me. I was the last runner. Uh, in the first 1K, I had become the last runner.
Also, just to mention something that you told me, most most of the runners, this was not their first time.
Yes, most of the runners wasn't their first time 100K, and I didn't meet anybody who was their first time doing ultra marathon. Uh, yeah, so although people also told me like you really chose the wrong course. We'll get to that. That was towards the end, but when I started, all 249 overtook me. But I had to really control myself as well. Just tell myself this isn't a marathon; it's an ultra marathon. Your race isn't against other people; it's against time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they all overtook me. I was wearing headlights. It was really nice. Saw the sunrise. Sunrise was insanely beautiful. Uh, but yeah, I was just cruising, going up and down, really enjoying the race as much as I can. Uh, and yeah,
All right,
didn't
so yeah,
feel much.
so according to your picture, so the first eight station, and like for example, in marathons you have eight stations about 5 kilometers or 3 kilometers, depending on
Every
whatever the race is, right?
every two
So
and a half.
this, all right, so this one you're saying that your first aid station was at Blanket Bay at 22 kilometers. So
Yeah.
so for about 22 kilometers, you don't have contact with any human beings. Is that correct?
Basically, so when I said everybody crossed me, I was the last one. So up until 22K, I had crossed about. I kind of like that as well. So I was like, how many people can I cross? So up until 22K, I crossed about 6 people. But yeah, you don't really see anybody. You say hi and you cross them and you go on your way. You're not really having a conversation or a chat. Phones are barely working, but you carry all your nutrition and everything. So
Yeah.
for it's just you by yourself in the nature in the wild.
Oh, absolutely. That's insane. And so while I mean, yeah, so marathon is fine, right? Like you have people who listen to music or podcasts or anything, but what's happening during this like 5K, 10K intervals? What are you doing? What are you thinking about?
Between each checkpoints.
Yeah, I mean generally like between each checkpoints or just generally, are you
So
just
the
enjoying the scenery or yeah?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be as present as I can be. I'm enjoying the
Hmm.
scenery. I was carrying my earphones, but I didn't put them on throughout the 15 hours. Not
No
didn't listen.
way.
Yeah, I didn't listen to any music. Didn't listen to any podcast. Nothing.
You
I didn't
raw
even.
dogged it.
Yeah, I raw dogged the whole thing.
Oh,
So yeah, I was just being with nature, being present, uh, and enjoying it as much as I can. I wasn't thinking too much of the 100K. I was just thinking, how do I get to the first checkpoint, and then the second checkpoint, and then the third checkpoint. Obviously, this was only the beginning, so I was feeling fine. I was feeling good. I was running most parts. Bear in mind, a lot of the inclines and the declines were very steep, so you can't really run on them. Even on
Correct. Yeah.
declines, declines can be very, very, exhausting for the legs as
And
well.
this stop and go also really like messes with your momentum and your
It
leg
does.
muscles as well. And you're like then you have to because like you said, you're just stepping down or stepping up, and then you have to start your legs again to make them run or just jog. So it's kind of like frustrating.
Yeah, it's hard to find a rhythm in such a setting because you're constantly adjusting your speed. You're constantly, uh, you know, um, trying to be aware of where you're putting your foot. Because the terrain was not flat at all. There was rocks everywhere, so you have to be mindful. We went through a lot of mud and dirty water and crossed rivers and stuff, so we were all wet and sandy.
So, so just from my understanding, like of course you're passing through beaches and everything, but can we say that you were inside the forest, or I
Yeah,
don't know what to call it properly, like a jungle, and then
yeah.
like a proper like I mean away from, let me just put it this way, like any town or
Oh,
civilization,
yeah.
like
Pretty.
but it's sort of like untouched by human interference.
So this trail is one of the most popular in Australia. It runs for about 110 kilometers or so. It's called the Great Ocean Walk. So the trail itself is, I mean, you would see people here and there, but when we
Yeah.
started 5 a.m., so nobody was there. In the afternoon, towards like midday, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., you would see some small people doing tours on certain parts of it.
I
But
see. Yeah.
usually, what people do is this is a 1 week trek. So people
A
start,
1 week trek.
people spend a week doing it. It takes
They
them a week.
camp, they go, they do 10 kilometers. I see. Yo, that is insane.
Yeah.
All right, I think let's jump into the part I think where people would be very, very interested to see is how you describe you saw kangaroos, koalas, and yeah, tell us what you saw.
Oh, I saw so many things, man. There was kangaroos pretty much everywhere. Koalas. I did.
Your good thing you know how to box.
Yeah, kangaroos are not really harmful. They don't really, threaten you or anything. Koalas are same. Snakes is what I was scared of,
Yeah.
and at times I could see because throughout these tracks can at points be like this thin. You can't even walk in straight. You have to go sideways,
Oh
right?
shit.
And on the right, on the left, it's all bushes and bushes and it's in the wild. So there's
Yeah.
God knows thousands of kinds of animals and whatnot. But
Oh, so
at,
sorry, sorry. Let me just ask you one thing. So these passages, did you cross them during daytime or nighttime?
both throughout is like that. It's like a single trail, small trail that goes
Yeah.
here and there, up and
Dude, that
down.
is insane. I mean, I can imagine like you have some sort of visibility during the day, but during the nighttime only with your headlight and because a lot of animals are nocturnal, right? So, bro, that is insane.
Yeah, during the night, these guys don't usually come out, and we started at 5 a.m. So by 6:30, we had light. So I put off my headlight. It was my first time running with a headlight, so that was definitely weird. I wasn't used to it. You're carrying weight on your head while
Yeah.
moving and blah blah blah. But uh, yeah, that light is sufficient enough for you to see. These are strong lights. But yeah, we had regulation. We were supposed to carry two sets of headlights. That's just part of the
Yeah.
gear we had to carry. It was mandatory, of course, for obvious reasons. But uh, yeah, man, at no point, only the starting half K or something was on the road, and then we went
Yeah,
into,
I could see like you're starting in a town or something.
yeah,
There's like a proper road which leads
yeah,
into the trail.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, I also saw all these. I saw a lot of, at times, I would like, because I was running in sand as well. A lot of times, my shoes
Yeah.
kept filling up with sand, so I would stop and sit and take out sand out of my shoes and put them back on and start running again. So a lot of ants, these red ants, like they really,
Bro, those are
really
the
would,
bullet ants. Yeah, they
yeah,
sting. They have some a little bit of venom in them.
Yeah, I don't know if they were venomous, but they definitely looked like if I got stung by them, it'd be really painful. But anyway, I saw
Yeah.
a lot of those trying to get them off as well. I was wearing these two bands that work as mosquito repellents. They have
Okay,
the smell.
smart.
So for the most part, I didn't have any mosquitoes come at me, but there were definitely a lot of mosquitoes. I could at times, I'd be walking and I can hear snakes. I can't say with 100% certainty if it was a snake, but as soon as I would hear one, I start running. Right? Uh, yeah. Uh, that happened a few times, and this one time I was just running casually,
Yeah.
and I saw this massive lizard. It was a big, big, like
Oh
this big,
shit.
easily this big. I have a picture as well. Maybe I'll send it here, and we can show the viewers. But this big lizard. So I'm running, and I see a big lizard, and I stopped. I'm like, what do I do here?
It's like in your path.
He's literally in the middle of the path, and it's not a big path. Like if you were to
Yeah.
go, you got to go over it,
Yeah.
right?
Woo!
So, and it was a big lizard, like really big, not the
Yeah.
ones you see in your houses,
Yeah.
fat as well. Anyway, I
What
stopped
color?
and
What color? What color?
it was like off-white, brownish.
Okay, okay, okay.
Anyway, I stopped for about half a minute or so. I'm thinking, what the hell should I do here? So then I start throwing shit at it. I take small pieces of rocks. So it moves, right? It's not
Yeah.
moving. I hit the ground so hard because the ground had a lot of dust. The dust went
Yeah.
and hit the lizard really hard.
Yeah.
Still didn't move. I'm like, what the hell do I do? Eventually, I just ran over it. I did a big alert, and I went and I looked back, and that guy was still there, didn't move,
Yeah, I
unbothered.
think it was hibernating or something. God damn.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I've growing up, I've definitely someone been who's been scared of these things. But
My mom was also scared. Like my mom is scared of like the lizard of this size. So I can imagine if she saw
my
something
brother,
like this. Yeah.
my brother and sister, they're the same. They won't step into the house if a lizard's there.
Yeah, I think it's like thing about lizard is that they're just like creepy. They're just eerie, like their texture and how they move the slithering part.
Yeah,
Not like dangerous or anything, but it's just like ugh, it's just eerie.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
Because there's definitely this was a big concern, and they did a big briefing on it the day before for us.
uh-huh.
There is venomous snakes in the area, and a
Yeah.
lot of people have been bitten as well. There was a girl there with us in the briefing. She had been bitten 4 times on 4 occasions. Uh,
In one
it
race.
No, no, not in one race,
Okay.
across over the
Across, okay.
years. Like I said, these people that were coming in, most of them were veterans. They'd been running ultra
Yeah.
marathons 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, of course, anyone would be thinking this, God forbid, of course, this doesn't happen to anyone. But yeah, if something does happen and it gets quite serious, what's the protocol over there? Do you
So we
call
have,
someone?
yeah, so we have a,
First of all, did you even have cellular signals?
at some, in some parts you do. Uh, we had a compression, snake compression band-aid type thing that
What does this do?
this, so let's say you got bitten by in your toe. On top of that, you sort of like wrap it around so the blood doesn't carry through into your heart.
Okay.
And then nobody's died in Australia after 1970s or so because of a snake bite. We do have anti-venom. It's just a matter of how soon you can get to the hospital, right? So you do that, wrap it around, and get help, and then they'll transport you to the hospital. If there is access, they'll do it through car or might get a chopper in or something.
Yeah.
Uh, and they
Also,
can
you need to know which snake bit you so that they have the correct antivenom, right? So you
100%.
need to you need to see the snake, what it looked like, how big, color,
100%.
etc.
You take a picture, you don't let it out of your sight. It's in Australia,
Oh
what
shit,
they
you take
do,
a picture as well. All right, that
you
makes
do,
sense, right? Yeah.
like here, there's a lot of spiders that are venomous as
I
well,
was I
right?
was about to ask like how about spider because I have arachnophobia, which is a fear of spiders. So any black widows or anything,
Yeah, I saw a lot of spiders, a lot of spiders,
goddamn bro,
a lot of
shit.
spiders. But there's a lot of spiders in Sydney as well. The world's most venomous spider is called black Sydney spider or something like that. Uh,
Hmm.
and they're found in Sydney. But anyway, so I've done a first aid uh, training as well, and CPR, right? Because I used to work with kids, so I know how to use an EpiPen, how to use a defibrillator, how to use a first aid kit, these compression tape and whatnot. But here, if you get bitten by a spider, you have to catch the spider and take it with you to the hospital
No way.
so that they can use the venom to make
Yo,
it
not only are
any.
you getting bitten, you have to catch the goddamn
Yeah,
thing. God. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah. You
God.
have to catch the goddamn thing and take
That's
it with you to the
that's too
hospital.
much work.
I know, I know. But any case, thank God I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
bit bunny thing. So
And I'm looking at your first sunrise. This looks absolutely amazing. I mean,
it
wow,
was,
it's Australia is such a beautiful country wherever you
it really
go.
was. Yeah, it really was. It was amazing.
So
What's
then you're after 41 kilometer, you're coming into Air River, and here we can hear your friends, like your boys that came along with you. Tell us about them and maybe give them a shout out or something. I mean,
yeah?
it's really
Shout out
nice to
to
have, yeah, it's really nice to have friends who came along with you on this journey and were with you throughout wherever they can. So yeah.
yeah, no, shout out to them. Honestly, so grateful for them to be there. They mm, just being them being there made a huge difference. So these guys all flew in from Sydney to Melbourne and then drove down, three of the boys, and then they had my car, so they would meet me from one checkpoint to the next, to the next, to the next, and they would have all my nutrition and everything ready. It was just also good to see someone every
Yeah.
20 kilometers, so it just
Yeah.
keeps you going. So yeah, that was one thing that really kept me going. Like, I want to see the boys, and we'll get there and it'll be fun and whatnot. But yeah, shout out to them. They really
Yeah, you can hear them, trying to push you, trying to give you that positive mindset
did it.
that keep going, keep moving forward. That helps a ton.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had the day before we planned everything out, how it's
Yeah.
gonna go, what we're gonna do, where to meet, how to meet, what to do, what kind of mindset I expect from them as well, what zone they should be in, how to approach this whole thing, and all. It
Yeah.
takes obviously what we see is only a small part of it. A lot goes into these things. Uh, but yeah, no, kudos. uh, they really were really helpful for me, and I'm
Yeah.
really happy because by the end of it, they're all convinced they want to do a marathon next year.
You always end up doing that. That's such a power that you have. That's amazing
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Walk us through your first tire change. Yeah, we can see that you are changing your shoes. So, in this case, what is going through my mind is that, shit, do I really want to take off my shoes and see what has happened to my feet? Like you would have that, like, I don't know, so walk us through your first tire change.
So we planned this very meticulously. The shoes that I'm changing into the black on ones, they're waterproof shoes. We were gonna come. So this is at checkpoint two. So I did the whole trail about 41, 42K in the other white shoes. Both were by On. I was testing them first time on a trail, and then they were phenomenal. I couldn't recommend them enough. But anyway, at checkpoint two, between checkpoint two and checkpoint three, there was a beach, and the beach had this water. Uh, Crossing. So you have to go into the water to cross to the other
Mm,
side. So either you do that in shoes or take off your shoes and get wet and cross the river and then put them back on. So we decided
and
that's why I
that's
changed into
never
these other
nice.
shoes.
Like
They're
the feeling
waterproof,
of
but they're
wet
not as good
socks,
for running. They're
especially
heavier
while
as
you're
well.
running. That's
Yeah.
never nice.
Yeah. So I didn't really like doing that. So between checkpoint two and checkpoint three, I changed into these shoes just so I can do the
So
waterproof
how
stuff.
do they work? Like, okay, very silly question because I don't know, but were you wearing socks with them or without
Of
socks?
course. Yeah, of course.
Okay. And they prevented like your feet from getting wet, like as much as they could.
Uh, Yeah,
Okay.
basically. And also, I didn't want to wet the other shoes because if I wet the other shoes, I have to run in them 6 hours. So as soon as I between checkpoint and checkpoint two and three, I changed into these shoes and I ran in them, which was really not ideal. But anyway, did the water crossing, ran the beach, and then when I got to the other part, I took them off. I washed my feet and everything, and changed into my dry shoes again, and
The,
then
the
went.
first the first shoes that you had on. Okay. Okay.
Exactly,
Interesting.
exactly.
Very nice strategy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Then of course, yeah. You now here we can see that I think you've had a whole outfit change. Now you have like a gray thing on,
Yeah,
a gray
so it
outfit.
was.
Yeah.
I started with a black shirt, thermal, and during the day, obviously, the sun was out. Sorry,
Bless
excuse
you.
me.
No
Thank
worries.
you. Yeah, so during the day, the sun was out and it was getting warm. So I decided to change my shirt
Hmm.
because black really attracts all the heat and it was getting really warm. So,
Yeah.
and obviously, I was full of sweat. So, washed my face and everything, changed into new outfit, and yeah, changed the socks as well. And
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Yeah. Then
because
we have. Yeah, then we have one video of you just like at an elevation, showing us literally that you have to go on the other side through the
yeah,
jungle. Wow, that is
yeah.
insane. That is so
You know,
daunting.
that's actually so freaking crazy. We say
Wow.
100K, we think about this and that. When you actually are standing there and see on the
Yeah.
other side, and then you can see how far 100K is, it's further
You
than most
know,
of us.
bro, I just want to add one thing, right? So when I first saw the Burj Khalifa, and Burj Khalifa is not even 1 kilometer.
It's
It's
not
800. It's 800 meters
seven, eight
something.
hundred.
So yeah. So if when you're like, I mean, the thing with Burj Khalifa is that even if you look at it, I mean, you can see Burj Khalifa from most part of the Dubai if you have clear sky. But when you're standing at the base of it, and if you look up, you really have to tilt your neck all the way back just to see the top of it, and that's not even 1K like we said. So guys, just put that into perspective. And I mean, every time that I look at the Burj Khalifa, I just marvel at it because it's just something phenomenal. And to just like, I'm just trying to visualize that by 100 or 100, 100, 2 times. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah. It was yeah, we can't really fathom. When I try to think about it as well, it's I my head just spins. So I don't
Yeah.
really think when I think now, like, oh, freaking 15 hours. How did I do that? I really don't know. I was just
Yeah, that's what so that okay. So I mean, like, this is something I personally wanted to ask, right? I mean, you're at 78 kilometers. I mean, I don't think Parmeet, like nobody that I know personally and that I'm fond of has ever done something like this. And I mean, just like imagining 78 kilometers. So you're there, you're at 78 kilometers. I know that you told me that, of course, like you wanted to go, like you really, really wanted to go, and you really, really felt like that you can do it, right? Like your mind is saying, like your heart is saying that, yeah, let's do it. But then your body, like you had to sort of make that decision. So walk us through that because I feel like not only like in the perspective of running, but in life as well. When you're so close to finishing that goal, right? And you talked about goals as well, right? What is the thought process at that time? What are you thinking? Should I go ahead? Should I stop? And even if I do, what are the consequences? Walk us through the entire thought process.
so after I left the third checkpoint, between second and third checkpoint, my body was shattered, right? Literally shattered because a lot of elevation gain and then also running on the beach and running on wet shoes and whatnot. So when I got to checkpoint three, my body was shattered and I took a little break and stuff and I continued. Little did I know that the part from checkpoint three to checkpoint four was the most roughest and the longest,
Uh,
and it had most of the elevation gain as well. It was absolutely insane. That part you couldn't really run it, right? So and I was getting cramps because of be it lack of sleep or whatnot. But so I got deep heat and I put it all over my deep heat.
yeah.
So I put it all over my legs so I don't really cramp as much. That really worked well because I wasn't cramping. Obviously there was still pain, but I wasn't cramping, which I really like. I started cramping on my forearms, which weird. I don't know why, but
I've
anyway,
never had that. So
yeah. But they're
wow,
always
okay.
like if you're doing this all the time.
Yeah, bro, at 78 kilometers, I mean, of course, I'm never going to have that because I've never done or experienced such intensity. So go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I left the third checkpoint at 40, 55 kilometer mark and I started doing that incline, my body just kept getting fatigued more and more and
Yeah.
more. After 2 hours, that let's say maybe I'm at 65, 70 kilometer mark, that deep heat wore off and I
Yeah.
start getting cramps again slowly, slowly. But at this point, I'm just doing like a
So
steady,
wait, so at 65 is when your body really started to like you know,
yeah, around
like
65.
unwind,
To the point
Yeah.
wherein I think of it this way, like pain had started way before,
Yeah.
but I'm used to running in pain, right?
Hmm.
But it's when like you start getting doubts and second thoughts and
Yeah.
thoughts of quitting. So that's when that started.
So that's what I'm saying. So at 65, you started having that, but you still pushed through 13 kilometers.
Yeah, and I
And
had
I think this is where you must have been negotiating with yourself, correct?
yeah, basically yeah,
Okay. That's
going
insane,
having
bro.
that limbic
So
friction.
what you've done is you've already broken past, like, see, this is where, okay, 65 is where I would also give up, like a guy like me. I would also give up like at 65, but just to keep going and keep having that negotiation up until 13 kilometers, you've already, I feel like, this is something you also talk to Moksh about as well, right? It's not that you run for the joy of it, or like, I mean, yes, you like running to a certain extent, right? But what you're actually trying to do is, tell your mind, that who's the boss, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that
that's what
you're
it
the
is.
one in charge. And this is what this entire podcast is also about, and this is what the wiser community is all about. So yeah, bro, that is phenomenal. That is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
No, and exactly that's exactly what that's about. When getting to a point wherein you find yourself in a battle with your mind, and that's where real growth happens. So that point might have been at 5K last year for me. Now it's at 70K or something, whatever it may be. But that point keeps on changing, obviously. But you do all that, get to the point wherein your mind's like, fuck no. And then you're like, fuck yes. And that's when you have a battle. And that's what I do this for, honestly. Because in that battle, when you come out of it, you're a different person. And I do definitely feel like a different person after that. So after that 65, I was twisting my ankle, I was hitting my toe and whatnot. Still continued. I was body was definitely shattered. Now at that point, I had two choices. Either I had enough time that I even if I walked it, I could finish it. But I feel like my body was running into an injury, and I would have to go really, really slow, and I would have finished at maybe midnight or something. But it was just an uncharted, unknown territory. After 50K was, I had never done more than 50K. This was what 78K. So
Again, we keep coming back to this. Like, it's the terrain. Had it been a flat road, easy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like I can't emphasize this enough. Adding any sort of incline changes the whole game altogether. And if it's you wouldn't,
Plus, I would also go as far to say that look, the thing is like you're talking about your life here as well, right? And yeah, I mean 22 kilometers. And actually, it should have been the other way around. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't organize the race, but had it been me, I guess to make it a little bit sense, I would have started the other way around, just so that the hardest part come first, and then you finish at a reasonable rate, because that's when, I mean, that's when you because like the human body would also say that, all right, I finish, I've eaten the hardest thing. Now whatever is remaining is something that I can manage. So in terms of your health as well, right? You're talking about 22 kilometers and then finishing it in the dark again with all of those animals, elements. Yeah,
yeah,
that seems like a health hazard at this point.
yeah. Honestly, it was, but also like I was so much on the fence. The reason why I was so disappointed was that I didn't maybe give my 100%. I felt like I had some more in the tank that I could have maybe given. Uh, but yeah, in that moment, it's a really hard
Yeah.
decision to make. I
See,
came at the
that's the thing with people like us, right? We're never satisfied. We're always hungry.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're always
yeah,
gonna feel like this regardless. Had you
yeah,
had you even finished, you'll be like, I could have done 101 or 100.5 just for
yeah.
it.
I don't know, man. Honestly, it felt like a disappointment and a failure. And I know it's just stupid to say that, but think about this, right? In my head, I created a lot of expectation for myself, and I didn't reach up to that. So that's how I look at it. But I've been in my life, I've been someone who's really not ran away from failures. I use it as fuel, and I failed so many times. I lost my first fight. I almost didn't finish my first marathon. There's so many failures day in day out, right? But it's just that you don't let it define you. You let it fuel you, right? So I wish I did the 100K, but I am not. There's no question that I won't be able to do it. It's just a matter of time, right? So maybe instead of 6 months, it'll take me 9, 10 months, but eventually I will get there for sure.
Yo, I was gonna ask you what was your biggest takeaway, but I think you just nailed it. Absolutely amazing, bro. Look, and I mean that's all from my end, but yeah, 100% agreed with you, Parmeet, and of course, like yeah, everything that you said. I mean, you've never let us down, and we're all rooting for you always. And at this point in time, like for how long I know you and how long I've worked with you, there's nothing that you've said you've not done. So I have no doubt that you're gonna continue this pattern of always doing whatever you can. And hey, it ain't over till you're dead. So you have all your life to do this.
100%, man. Every day is a new day, and although I failed there, but eventually I just know deep down that now I feel so much more confident that I can do 100K. Again, now I'm on the fence that I know I can do 100K on a flat ground, but I'm like, no, I don't want to be a bitch and go back to, because I could have done that on day one. I chose the hard train, I chose the hard track, I chose to do it somewhere far, far away from home and in a place I don't know nothing about. So all that challenges were already there, but I knew of them and I took them on. I could have easily done 100K on a flat ground, close to home, with all my friends, everything there. But I put all these obstacles because I wanted it to be unknown, and I wanted to put myself through that challenge wherein I don't know how I'm going to get there, right? Where things are not uh, obvious and achievable. That's where you sort of, really in the moment question and learn so much about you. And believe it or not, the person that's come out of the race is still a very different person. There's so many things, but only time will. I don't want to share anything here, but when the time comes, you'll always see what stemmed out of this, and I'm so grateful for it. Crazy thing is, as soon as I left from their 78-kilometer mark, my house was about an hour away. Boys were driving me, and in the car, I was looking up next 100K race, and I did that for about the next 2 3 days, and I finalized the race as well. It's on the 1st of December, but I'm just thinking, do I want to do it for the ego of it, or I don't know. I'm just trying to get my head
Mm.
right. Uh, because it's been very intense last 6 months. Body's taken a lot of toll as well. Work has piled up a lot, which I need to pay a lot of attention to as well. Uh, but I'm definitely going to do it. It's just a matter of time. But I want to tell everybody that set a goal for yourself. It doesn't matter if you're going to achieve it or not. What you achieve in the process is secondary. Goal is to grow. What you become in the process of achieving that goal is what stays with you for life. The medal and stuff you get is a mere small reward that you get in the moment and then you put it away. But that growth stays with you throughout your life. And I cannot see myself as the person that I was 6 months ago, that I am today, the person that was six, because I've achieved so much and I've changed and grown so much, right? So that this growth will stay with me forever. And it will sort of, it's a stepping stone, right? It's a stepping stone. So set a goal for yourself, whatever it may be. For me, yeah, on the outside, packaged it as 100-kilometer race, but it was a mental journey for me, and that's why I did it. Running 100 kilometer is doesn't matter as much. It's what I go through and what I put myself through and the mental journey I went through and the growth that led to for me. So that's what it's about. I would recommend you all to, doesn't have to be running, it can be anything. Just put yourself in an unknown, uncomfortable situation and persist, which will build resilience, build belief, build confidence, and make you feel really good about yourself and allow you to, carry that same growth to other things in life and other people in life around you. Uh, you won't experience it and feel it until you try it. Listening from other people is only information. You have to really experience it in every cell in your body. That's when you will, make it sustainable. That's when you'll carry it on and keep doing this again and again and again. Uh, but yeah, so that's that. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this and supporting me and Wiser Together and us and our community. And if you've been a part of this 100K journey as well, really, really appreciate your support. Really hope you got something out of it. Uh, if you're just starting out, I was someone like you as well. I started with 5K last year. Really don't know how I got here, but it's just day in, day out, small steps. Today this, tomorrow that. Set a plan, set a routine, and just follow that as best as you can. And I promise you, you'll be better off where you started. So do that. Share with us what you learned, what you are planning to do, and we cannot wait to hear from you. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Ciao, guys.